All right, very good. So as we're listening, we not only want to remove anything that distracts us, cell phones, music, roommates, because our roommates distract us. We want to think about the topic. We want to read any information that we already have, vocabulary words, so that we're familiar with them. And then we want to recognize information in the lecture, whether it might be a definition of something, an example of something. Also, if a word is really important, the lecturer might spell that word. Or if they don't know if you know how to spell it. When we think about it, we have that filing cabinet drawer open about that subject, so we can predict then, we can guess what they might say, and that helps us to be ready to process that information. Believe it or not, it really does. So we want to do that. We want to be really careful with that. So I want to take a minute. I'm going to share my screen with you now, which, because you've already been on there, I think that this will be easy for you. So here's our home page. And my guess is you've already checked this out. You've looked at this, right? But in case any of our other students have, over here on the right are things that you will need to do. But I honestly, I just want you to use pretty much the module button, okay? Because the module button that's our lessons. And every week we are listening, and my objective is to help you listen and understand main ideas and details. And let's look at our objectives, okay? So I'm going to give you listening videos that are in between 5 and 7 minutes long, and I may give you some videos that are even longer to challenge you, because I have some good videos. And so to be able to understand, what are they talking about? And then as they're speaking, what are the details, supporting details that support that main idea? So listening, and then we will also talk about note taking in this class. As you take notes, you need to listen for what we call content words, words that are stressed, and that's usually the noun, the verb, an adjective, or an adverb. And these words give us meaning. And as we listen, those are the words that are important to pick up. So when we take notes, we don't want to use full sentences. And we will talk more about note taking next week. But it's important as we listen to learn, what are we listening for? Okay, so the second objective here is to, we've already talked about this, to remove our distractions. This is how to help you listen easier. So remove distractions, build background knowledge, recognize types of information in a lecture, whether it's predicting, you predict what it's going to be about, understand and recognize lecture language. Like if I'm talking, I might say, today's topic is soccer. And I'm not talking about football, I'm talking about soccer. And we will be discussing the rules of soccer, the amount of, no, I'm sorry, not the amount, the rules of soccer, the uniforms of soccer, and the history of soccer. So let's begin. First, let's talk about the rules. So what I've done there is I've given you an introduction to our topic. So as you listen, and there I said first, next, and finally, or first, second, and finally, and that tells you those are the three main ideas. So when you take notes, you can already write down soccer, rules, uniforms, history, and then you know what's coming. So you can predict, okay, she is going to give me information about this. So that's lecture language. Today we're going to talk about topic, first, next, another, second, third, and finally, in conclusion. Those are all signal words that help you take great notes and understand these are the main points. And then as you're speaking about those things, the history, the uniforms, then you write that underneath them. So learning all that's going to make a big difference. So as you listen, we'll think about those things. So to begin with here, I gave you an introduction and the vocabulary for Before I Die. So I told you here about the artist, gave you something to think about. So when I ask you, you know, what topics do you think the people will write about on her wall? Because I tell you about her. And then I give you some topics here. And so what do you think would be the most popular topic out of these 6? Which one would be the most popular, do you think?
I think happiness.
Happiness? Okay. Okay. So as you listen to the video, to the audio, was your prediction true? Did people talk about happiness?
People often talk about love and I love.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, so so what you do before we listen is we're predicting, and you were correct. And then, of course, now I have vocabulary words for you to go over. And even though this says it's a quiz, it's just a practice quiz to help you with that. So again, we're just doing our before we listen. Now, as you go through here, I have a lot of different assignments for you. Here's what were the main ideas, details, examples, and then I choose for my classes to give you music. Music is an amazing way to learn English and to listen. One of the things that is different about music is it is very informal. Okay, so it's slang, it's words that are linked together, meaning we connect our words. It's almost like we push one word to the other, and we don't say each word individually. So I love to give songs where you can listen and then you're listening for specific words. So that's one thing that is a very enjoyable for me, and I hope for you. So then here we have an introduction to outlining. So hopefully, and as you work through this, this is your week. And I will put, so each week, so week 2 here, you notice if you click on week 2, it's locked. So you can see what's in week 2, but you can't open it yet. So every week it will open on, I believe, Sunday, so that you can go ahead. Quizzes will open on Wednesday. And quizzes should be done after you've done everything in the module. This is not a lot, in my opinion. Maybe it is, but you're just going to work it one at a time, go down, and you have a week for each one of these. So again, now back to outlining. So in outlining, and here I'm giving you practice on Kahoot. In outlining, you want to add your topic, and then we're going to put the main idea first and then the details. And if you notice, when you outline, the main idea is to the left of your page, and the details are indented, meaning there's a space there, and it's underneath each main idea. The reason we outline like this, and we number, so our main ideas are 1, 2, 3, and typically this is done in Roman numerals. And so it would be the Roman numeral 1, and then this would be A, supporting details, the first supporting detail, the second supporting detail. So back to soccer, our topic would be soccer. The first main idea would be the rules, and the first detail might be you must have 11 players on the field. The second detail must be the soccer ball must be hit inside a net to score a point. And you could go on and on with rules, okay? And then your second idea was the uniforms. And then what do we say about the uniforms? And then the third idea was the history. When did soccer start? Who started it? Now, when you're, hang on a minute. I've got people finally coming. Okay, admit. Good morning. Okay, so as we are talking about outlining right now. So as we go through this, we want to use just short phrases when we outline. We don't want to use sentences, okay? So because we don't have time to write sentences when we're listening. So if you look at your outlining, you notice I just have little short boxes. So as you listen, you're going to listen for those content words, the words that have meaning. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Those are your nouns, your verbs, your adjectives, your adverbs. These words describe what you're talking about, and that's where we get our meaning. All the other words are called function words. They're like your articles, your prepositions. These words don't necessarily give our speech meaning, but grammatical correctness. Okay, so if we're writing, we want to be grammatically correct. So we want to have those prepositions. We want to have the articles. We want to have determiners, all of those little words that we think of. But if we are speaking informally to friends, or we are listening, we're listening for the main words, the content words. And you will find as you listen, maybe not at first, but those words are typically stressed. So when I talk about stressed, I mean they are said louder or they're longer, and sometimes we spell them. So that helps us to understand. So here's our outlining, and then we have a little outline below and how it organized her information. Main idea was her wall, okay, and different details. It was an art project. So what it was, where it was, again, more information about what it was, and this might be, you know, who it involved, and then when. So a lot of times our details are the where, what, who, when, why, the WH questions, or how, okay? So these details give us the information of what it is, where, and the more than the information. Okay, so as you begin to outline is very important when you're listening to lectures. Why do you think it is important to outline? Why would Miss P say that? All right, so my other students, good morning. I'm having one or two come in. Can you put on your video, please? So I can see your beautiful smiling faces. Good morning, good evening. It's not morning there, it's evening. Glad to have you in class. All right. So we are just walking through, and I have been sharing my screen, so I think you probably still can see my screen of what we're doing. And as you work through the course, you will go from the top to the bottom. So have you guys played Kahoot? Okay, so I always try to give you something fun to help you review. So hopefully you will not have any problems with the links. I know in one of my other courses, there's been an issue, so I will double check that. If you do have a problem with linking or something not working, please email me. Because of our time difference, I might not get it right away, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. Okay. Again, here's another song just for listening. And then you're going to have a test over discourse markers. And so the discourse markers are what we talked about when all the way back here at the objectives. They're types of information, and they're the little words that we use to introduce information. Okay, so those words are examples, numbering, anything in that realm, if that makes sense to you. Questions about this? Okay, so as you work through, and again, this may be too easy for some. Let me know if you think so. I can add, so what I've done here is, of course, I've broken it down into weeks, but I've got resources here and I can actually add extra listening. So if you want more listening practice, more songs, I'll go ahead and add a tab and just open it. And so if you want more practice, I can give you longer listenings just to kind of let you try and see how you do with listening to 10-minute lectures or even longer. Because when you get in your courses, you're going to have 30, 45 hour-long lectures, and that's a lot to remember. So I really want you to come back here, sorry. So I really want you to be able to feel confident when you're listening, that you understand what you're listening, and then that you can write it down. So for example, today, many of your classmates aren't here. So they may say, what did Miss P talk about? If you've taken notes, then you can tell. If it's tomorrow, you might not remember everything for the next day. I don't, so I kind of think that's the same. All right, so now it's your turn. What kind of questions do you have either over this or about this course? You have any questions?
I have another course meeting soon. How should I do?
So we will meet once a week like this, the same time. So hopefully the rest of the class will get on and we'll be able to meet. And this is a time to, and I tell you what, hang on.
I have another course meeting.
Right, in 2 minutes, right?
2 minutes.
Okay, all right. Well, then I will let you go. I am going to, I'm going to show you. Can you see your classmates?
Yeah.
Go to room number 1, if you see at the top. Okay, I'm going to, okay, hang on. I think I need to switch my, okay. Can you see each other yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so next time I'll put us in a room where everybody can see each other. All right. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to let you go. I know you have another class to go to. So it's great to see you. Mwah. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
next week, okay?
Hi.
All right. Have a good night.
Hi. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.